This episode of RIJcast is brought to you by Fun.com, man, a purveyor of all things excellent. Whether you like the Funko Pop figures or if you're looking for a new Batman hoodie, Marvel wallet, a Chewbacca robe, doesn't matter what you're looking for, man, they have it there. It's your number one place for gifts, goodie bags, clothing, absolutely everything at this place, folks. A ton of really cool stuff. We're extremely excited to be affiliated with them now. And all you got to do is go to rijcast.com/support. Right there at the top, you're going to see the Fun banner, fun.com. Click on that banner. Anything that you do, anything that you purchase through that banner is going to help us out as well as help Fun.com out. And I really and truly, there is a ton of stuff available on this webpage for you. So go check that out. It's really, really cool. We wouldn't want you to miss out. We were really excited to be able to bring you this option. So go do that. This episode of RIJcast is our Dead End Con performance, man. So when we after the music, it's going to go right into the performance, but I didn't want you to not know what was going on. So this is we were actually had the opportunity to go live in front of an audience at the Dead End Con in Lynchburg, Virginia, and we had a really, really good time. People were great. Really dug the show. Stick around after the show. We do have some commentary for Rashaan, who wasn't actually able to be here, unfortunately, for the show. So we kind of go over some things with him, talk about the end of our show and why it was how it was. And so, yeah, man, I really appreciate you guys checking out the show. Don't forget, RIJcast.com is your home for everything. RIJcast.com/support is where you can find that Fun.com banner, as well as other ways that you can support the show. And please, by all means, find us on Facebook, Facebook.com/RIJcast. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get to the show.
We're your biggest fans.
Thanks. You followed us this whole world tour we've been on.
You know what's burning up in here? I just have Shannon.
Shanna?
Yeah, she's working on it for us.
She's working on it. Welcome to RIJcast. This is a show where we talk about everything you didn't know you cared about for the week, and in this case, survival stuff. I'm Jake.
Ian.
Josh.
We have another member. Unfortunately, he had some family issues. So Rashaan, who is usually on our show, he will not be here today.
He puts the R in RIJcast.
It's a sad. But are you guys having a good time so far as the con? I mean, it's only a couple hours in, but everything good? Awesome.
Yeah.
How was the celebrity panel? Was it good?
Awesome.
Yeah? Awesome, man. That's really good. We hope to make it to the next one that they're doing here in a little bit. But what we're going to do today primarily is work with survival stuff in general. So we're going to start talking about some survival scenarios and things. And then in a little bit, we'll have you guys kind of help us out with maybe some curveballs, some things that you think might be overcomable. And I can assure you that we can talk our way through it, I think.
Yeah. I'd say so.
Maybe. We'll find out. But first and foremost, Ian is our resident survivalist. He is obviously the most manly man here, and he is whose house we're running to. I would think in the event of
probably
an emergency.
Yeah.
What is your step one, man? What is like the first thing you do?
Well, if I'm in the Amherst area, I run to my family's house because it's fairly secluded, top of a mountain, pretty strong structure. We built ourselves, full basement, all that good stuff. Yeah, got plenty of weapons and food and all that good stuff. So I think we'll be okay.
That's the key, right? Is food. Well, you didn't say water though. What are you guys doing for water out there?
We have a well with a generator, so even if the power goes out, we got fresh water.
This guy. So you're fine. You're safe. You're secluded.
Right.
You're waiting for everyone else to show up.
Yeah.
Josh, what about you, man? What's your step one? Because you're in the city.
Right, yeah. I mean, I could secure my building fairly easily because even if it was overrun by zombies, everyone in my entire building is 60 or older, so I feel like they'd be fairly
The muscle mass is already
as far as
deteriorated
zombies go,
enough to where like you don't have to worry about them running fast in the first
Right,
place.
yeah. And I said 60 and over, but really it's probably safer to say 80 and older. It's an old crowd.
You
over
just
there,
you just tell them 60 to make them feel good.
Right, yeah.
Right.
I'm sure if I told any of them that they looked 60, they'd be incredibly flattered. So,
That's a sad
I feel like
thing.
that's the key. Is I could take my apartment building quick. I wouldn't be able to last for long there, but that's a good place to regroup, figure things out, and then probably try to find somewhere a little safer outside the city to get to. Ian's place or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got little ins too, so that's another factor that I don't have to worry about. Yeah.
Seriously though, like how do you manage that? Because like I have 2 kids too, and so like children in the apocalypse, right?
Yeah, and that's why I wouldn't be able to use my apartment for long, especially because we've got a great big sliding glass door. So that's not
you guys
the pinnacle of security.
Are you guys ground level?
Yeah, ground level.
Ooh, that's the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, but then at the same time, if the ground is taken and you're at like the 2nd or 3rd level,
right?
Unless you have a fire escape ladder,
you got multiple exits. It's good for it's a stable building and everything, and it's all concrete around us, but not great for holding the giant sliding glass door. But it'd be okay for a little bit.
Okay, so what about first? Like, what's your first priority, Ian? We're going to take you out of the country because that's too safe for you, and that doesn't really work when we're trying to entertain people for more than 10 minutes. So what are we looking at as far as like you're in the city, the outbreak happens, right?
Can we say it's this city specifically?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go with the Burg because it's small enough to where.
Well, we've actually talked about this a little bit on previous shows. I think a lot of people are going to go to like your Walmarts and things like that.
Sam's Club.
That's always been my go-to. Like go to Walmart, get on the roof.
Right. I think
wait
Sam's
out.
Club would actually be better.
Probably.
Just because.
Right. The only zombies in there would be members. So.
Right.
Well, there's a lot of pallets, so you could at least have a fun time like building hipster like houses and artwork and stuff.
Right. I mean,
out of the pallets.
I feel like, and this is probably not true at all, but I feel like Sam's Club is probably like a sturdier building than Walmart. Because Walmart's all about cutting corners and
more
they're
forklifts
both
per
concrete
capita.
block buildings,
right?
So I think you'd be okay in either.
You just see the concrete, like they don't try to pretty it up in Sam's Club, so it feels more rugged.
They don't even
and
have
secure.
bags in Sam's Club.
That's true.
So they're
Does
ready.
Sam's Club have the sporting goods section?
I don't know.
The one at Walmart would probably be empty already, but if it wasn't, that's that's ammo.
Granted, it's me, so I'm coming with
That's true.
melee weapons of all shapes and sizes.
Sure.
What's your melee weapon of choice? Not doctored up, because right now all you had to grab what was around.
So
you.
not a sledgehammer circular saw combo like my
no, that's a little too easy.
Like non-firearm would be what's called a wakizashi.
Okay.
It's like a katana, but slightly shorter. So like yay big instead of like a full 3 feet long.
You've lost everyone.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Look it up. You've got Google on your phone. That's fine. But just because it's not as large, you can work in tight spaces a little better. But,
so probably what Michonne should be using.
That's a good backup weapon. You'd want that as your primary.
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
What's your primary then?
I'd want some reach. I mean, it'd be great to have one of those for if things get too close. To have a machete or a wakizashi or something like that. But I mean, I'd even go the size bigger, the one bigger than a katana, like an odachi.
it's
or
like
something.
it's like
or
5 feet long.
Just a great big sickle.
You just want the sword from Final Fantasy VII, like that big.
That breaks into 12 smaller swords.
I would need a robot arm to carry that, right? Isn't that?
I mean, we're talking about the future here.
Okay.
It's possible.
Well, if you can't have a doctored weapon, I assumed I couldn't have a doctored arm, but I'm sure I'll take that in a heartbeat.
We once had an episode that was about how much you would give up for an arm. Like how much would you take for an arm? We went from finger to arm to leg to toes.
Right.
And the cost was surprisingly high.
What about you, Jake?
Dude, I'm following. I'm directly behind you. Wherever you are, I'm 2 feet behind, just so I don't die at this point.
Okay.
There's no survival instinct here.
I mean,
at
that's
all.
probably a safe strategy.
No, I can't even act. We have people, so I'm gonna try to be honest. I truly could not survive at all.
So what about your family? I mean,
they would survive just fine. My babies are probably defending the fort better than I am. I've now left. And just hiding under a rock somewhere.
You go out for a supply run, you come back, and you're like, what's the oldest one? 5?
Yeah.
5 has a necklace of zombie earrings around his neck.
My 3-year-old has a chainsaw. I was just taking them out. Dude, I'm telling you,
he goes like full on Lord of the Flies.
Seriously, dude, it's I would
on full Carl.
I would trust them and my wife to survive probably longer than I would.
Yeah.
I would have, but that's because I would have been so nice to sacrifice myself first.
Sure,
You know, I was there at the door holding them off.
Yeah.
For about 3 minutes. And so I think honestly though, I've always said Walmart, but I think that's a bad idea. As time goes on, I think about that more. I think that is probably stupid because everyone's going to go to Walmart. And
everyone in Lynchburg's already at Walmart, kind of. So.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a valid point.
But if you have, like, think about it. If you've ever been into, like, the Walmart sporting goods section, they have, like, maybe 4 rifles, maybe, on a good day.
Yeah.
So the stock's not there. I don't know, man. Honestly, I would probably go to, like, Bed Bath & Beyond. Honest. I know that sounds really, like, just a strange place to go, but they have kitchen knives. They have survival things that aren't like food. I'll let someone else smarter get the food. I'll come with like bags of Bed Bath & Beyond. So that's what I bring to the group is decor.
Well, I mean, if you're
as seen on TV products.
I mean, you know you're going to die. You might as well pamper yourself beforehand.
Well, there's Jake. You know, I don't know what we're going to do to survive, guys, but I've got bath salts.
Yeah, we'll have soothing moments, man. I'm just trying to make sure you guys live the same lifestyle that you do now. In the apocalypse.
Sure,
that's important. Lifestyle is key.
Come on in, guys. You don't have to hang out in the hall. We're not going to lock you out.
It is a little warmer in here than in the hall, but still. Hi. How are you? You can come in. So I think
this room wouldn't be a good idea. Look at all these entrances that people are using.
Dude, like it's stressing me out right now.
Right.
We only have. Do we have anybody in zombie garb? No, we don't.
I saw like 5 or 6 milling about outside.
You guys just didn't commit all the way,
right?
They're probably a little disappointed in that,
right?
Or the zombie makeup is already sweated off. That's an option.
That's very possible.
I actually saw one outside who was like fully in character. She was just like standing there looking at the wall, and that was it. Like I even went up and kind of like tried to get her attention. She was committed.
This would be the worst place for a zombie outbreak to happen.
Oh yeah,
she could be very committed to the bit, or she could be just incredibly depressed. You know,
there's that.
You don't make those assumptions.
I've been watching for those of you who don't listen to the show, which is all of you except for that guy. I've been going through this little run lately where I'm watching like slasher movies that I've never seen, and I know it's embarrassing that I've never seen Friday the 13th, Halloween, Hellraiser, or any other movie that I should have seen.
Can I interject real quick?
Go for it.
All right, this blew my mind as a horror buff. This guy started watching Friday the 13th movies, like a month ago?
Yeah.
Okay. He didn't know. Spoilers for people who haven't seen a movie that was made in the early 80s.
It's possible, dude. I'm teling you.
Spoilers. He didn't know that Jason wasn't in it. He didn't realize that it was his mother who was the killer.
I had no idea. But so I started watching these, right? And so Halloween is probably one of my least favorites. But the thing about Halloween that's really like the scariest part of all is the fact that like you couldn't really tell if it was really Michael Myers or just some random person like, in a costume. So that's the thing here. If it breaks out right now, how do you tell the difference?
Yeah, that's true.
You know? Just be careful, folks. How many people do you have with you, ideally? Like, what's your ideal number for survival?
Well, you don't want a huge group unless you want to go with the idea of that, more people means more snacks and, just playing the numbers there.
Yeah.
I think 10 or less.
That there's you want to have different techniques. What about you, Josh? First of all, let me ask you, how many people do you have?
How many people? I guess that's going to depend on who latches on as I go by.
Okay.
I kind of have a big crowd of people, of needy people around me in Lynchburg, and I have a feeling I'd end up towing a lot of those people whether I wanted to or not.
How do you handle the people that come into the group? Do you allow people in willingly, or are you holding off and making sure that you don't add anyone else to it fear of them being?
I think like most people, I would kind of have the at the beginning anyway, I would make the mistake of just like letting people in, just like, oh, I want to save you, like I want to help you guys out
until it comes back to bite you.
Until I start gradually turning
literally.
Still I start gradually turning into Rick and having like questions set up and like punching people for no reason when they try and come into the group.
I don't feel like the questions that they're asking are really effective.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you guys are fans of the show. I don't know if you think that these are like good questions to ask, but how many walkers have you killed and how many people have you killed?
Right.
I think there should be probably a longer application.
Sure.
Like it's 3 pages to work at Radio Shack.
Right.
So I would think that we could ask maybe more than 2 questions and
a valid
hope
point.
for the best.
Yeah. I do think the how many people have you killed question is important, though.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's on the list.
Because chances are, I feel like, no, I would never kill a person. They're full of it. Like,
get a pencil and a little questionnaire, have them fill it out, vote.
Right.
I don't know.
Do you have any like gradient questions like never, sometimes?
I think there should be at least like a 1 to 5 scale.
Sure.
Murdering other humans severely bums me out. Agree? Disagree?
Strongly agree. So you've got your group of, let's say, 10 people. You're probably at this point like, what, 15, 20?
Probably.
We're like 2 weeks in, and you've got a bunch of people with you. Where do you take them to hunker down? And I know we say the country, but like we're still in the city, and it's gridlocked. You can't leave. So you'd have to walk to Amherst if you were walking. So in the meantime, where are you stopping? Where are you camping? Where are you...
I mean, I feel like I would probably be more of the type to move, like keep moving. Like, especially if I'm in a city, like I don't want to stay in the city. So even if I'm walking to the country, like I feel like that's better progression than just like chilling out.
But then once you get to so you're at Amherst, and for those of you who aren't local, you go Lynchburg, then there's Madison Heights, which is like what you read about country, and then there's Amherst, which is like classic country. They're like good. They're good folks.
Sure.
Not saying Madison Heights people aren't good folks, but so there's that place in the middle where everyone is a survivalist. Everyone has a survival instinct. Everyone is the best survivor ever.
Sure.
So they're super vigilant and very adamant and excited and such. So how do you handle the other people that are camping on the way? Like, do you just breeze by them? Do you interact with them?
I think I would probably breeze by and see how they react. Like, if they are crying out for help or if they're going to attack, I would react accordingly. But I think for the most part, I'd probably just kind of let it go.
Gotcha. All right. What about you, Josh?
I mean, I think at that point, I would probably still be in the city.
Yeah.
I feel like before I went on the road, I would try to let things calm down a little bit more. I don't know. I feel like at that point in time, on the road is where all the survivors are killing each other intentionally or accidentally.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's still looting and things going on, but I feel like there's places in the city where you can still hunker down and be reasonably safe. I've got some friends that live out by Baptist Hospital, and they've made a big point to have like 8 gallons of water for everybody that's in the house, and 100 of each kind of battery, and 1,000 rounds of ammo for all these different weapons. And,
extreme couponers, huh?
Yeah. Concrete basement, brick first floor. I mean, I feel like that'd be a pretty good place to be. And then potentially also Virginia Baptist. You wouldn't want to hide in a hospital during a zombie apocalypse, but if you were going to, Virginia Baptist would be the one to do, because that's all, mother-baby maternity ward. It's not sick people who are trying to, cure this zombie bite. It's
a valid point.
That hospital is going to clear
out.
That's a
valid
fast.
Point. It's nothing but
It's a brick building, generator.
Although
a lot of windows.
That being said, isn't there like a mental health ward at that hospital though?
So there you go.
That's true. So
Have
just
fun, Josh.
Stay clear of that side.
At that point, those people are still more sane than a lot of the people outside. So
that's a valid point.
Sanity is relative.
I think I like that idea. I think I've always liked the idea of a school. Because there's lots of rooms, lots of doors, lots of opportunities. You have a full cafeteria. You usually have a nurse's area.
Yeah.
So like you've got enough to make it happen. So it's close. You'd definitely be up on the medical side of things.
Right, sure.
If you needed to deliver a baby in the apocalypse,
right,
you would be primed and ready. But so we've got you're on your way out to Madison Heights.
Sure.
You're in a hospital. I'm in a school, so now we have to come together because something horrible has to rip us asunder. We do.
Okay.
So Josh, you realize that you can't survive in the city, right, without Ian?
Sure.
And I knew that already. So we're on our way. We get to
aren't you
Ian.
at a school in the city without Ian?
It doesn't matter.
Okay,
I know my days are numbered.
Just check.
Because I don't have the ability to survive. We've discussed this before. So I am trying. We decide we have to get to Ian, right? So we go out to Amherst. So now we're let's say 6 weeks in, right? We're 6 weeks in the survival scenario. Food's running low.
I mean, it's safe to say that we'd probably still have cell service, right? At 6 weeks in.
Do you think? I mean, we're talking 6 weeks. Like this takes over like World War Z.
I mean, we're not like dropping a nuke or anything. I mean, the towers are still intact.
Yeah, but who's manning them? They're all zombies. Zombies don't care about your coverage.
That's true.
Or your rollover minutes.
That's true.
Let's say for the sake of survival, we don't have a phone. And regardless, even if you had a phone, there's no power because the generators are out. And I'm adding a lot of excess to make this happen the way I want it to happen. I know that, but
that's fair.
Oh shit!
The towers would have
guys,
power,
guys,
right?
guys.
Towers would have to be happening.
What did we just talk about?
I think we need to start getting worried now because we have zombies in the room.
Right.
I don't know how to entertain a zombie.
I mean, look, I told
I'm
you.
having trouble entertaining real people.
I told you shouldn't put that table there to block your exit. I'm fine. I can
I can do like a cool, like a scoot over the table. I'd take the MacBook out with me, but I would slide. It would be really cool. You guys would all be impressed. And but so we get out to Ian's house. There's no, even if you had cell service, you don't have power to charge your phone. Okay, and since no one's still carrying around a Nokia bar phone, you don't have battery anymore.
Still got my bag phone.
Absolutely, like it's all done. Power's out. The problem with being in the country is,
Did you keep your generator going for 6 weeks?
Probably. Like it's gas powered, so if we had stockpile of gasoline, then we'd be good to go.
But what do you do about the gas when it runs out? Okay, so we're 6 weeks in, you're out of gas.
Yeah.
You know, you can't
make it run to town.
Right, but now the town is full of zombies, Ian. Right. So how are you handling? What are you taking with you?
Plenty of weapons.
Do you have a Glen that tends to help?
My dad's not as nimble as he used to be, but he would probably be the best Glen.
To wear a hat.
He can't do parkour or anything. So.
Dude, that's unfortunate. Tell him to get on that.
Yeah.
You know, we're in the country. Yeah. We've got some supplies. We're making runs. The food will eventually run out because, or not the food, but the supplies will run out because Amherst is not a booming metropolis.
No.
So what are our issues here? Do you guys have any particular like things that you think are impossible to overcome or a slip up for the zombie apocalypse? Anybody?
Riding a motorcycle with no sleeves.
Riding a motorcycle with no sleeves. So you've got a how is your mode of transportation?
Actually, he brings up a good point with the no sleeves. Like one thing that I remember from what was it, season 3 when we were in Woodbury?
I think so.
Yeah. The doctor guy who always like wrapped his sleeves in duct tape. Like I thought that was ingenious.
That
like,
is
you're
really
not going to bite through that unless you're just gnawing on it for about 5 minutes. So
For 5 minutes.
You had it coming. Yeah.
I feel like Foresight should catch that one. Man, that zombie's been gnawing on me for at least a minute.
He's so cute, though.
First of all, one thing to keep in mind is that Walking Dead zombies have paper mache skulls. So you just stick your thumb into
That's
the
true.
brain and
That's true.
It's done.
What are you using to get back and forth to the city?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the classic conflict of mobility versus protection. I mean, like, you know, a motorcycle would be great. Like, you get through tight spaces and you can weave in and out of
bob and
great
weave
gas mileage, but you're completely unprotected. And it's also super loud, whether it's a Harley or a crotch rocket. I mean, you know,
so drive a Prius with your motorcycle on a trailer like 3 miles out and then get on the motorcycle. So you're both efficient and cool?
I think I would rather die than actually have to utilize a Prius.
Can you say you're cool riding around in a Prius?
Well, you're cool after you get out of the Prius.
Okay.
Right. First you're efficient, then you're cool.
So you get one of the bikes with the great big ape hanger handlebars, and then you just do the mounted swivel shotgun from one side.
Oh, just
it's like Jetpack Joyride.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, well, that's better. I was going to say machete, but I'm all for the Jetpack Joyride. Yeah.
You live on top of a hill, right?
Yeah.
So technically you could roll down without starting the engine.
I mean, we could, but really where we're at specifically, like, I don't have to worry about attracting noise there.
Now we're dealing with herds now, though. Like, we've got zombies roaming out because they've eaten everyone in the city.
Yeah, I don't know then.
So you still gotta be careful.
I think a truck would probably be the best one. Like, not necessarily like a huge like diesel truck, but something, you know, that you can throw a bunch of supplies into. It's big enough you can easily get in and out of it.
So like an El Camino.
Yes.
That's the Daryl of vehicles.
It really is.
It is. Yeah. Right. What are you using for transportation, Josh?
I really think a motorcycle is probably the way to go.
Yeah.
Just because.
But like, you can't carry much. So like, your runs, how effective are your runs going to be?
Well, how much stuff are you going out for? Are you going out for food? Or
we've got his 10 people, you're 15, and my family has shown up without me because I'm dead at this point.
That's true.
So, I mean, you've got a lot of people to take care of.
And you're a ginger zombie, the worst of all zombies.
We're fierce. We're like Yellow Jackets after we're dead.
Well, I mean, you've got no soul before you die, and then after you die, it's worse.
I mean, you're practically there already, so...
I don't know, man. You've got a lot of people to take care of.
Okay, so I guess you'd want a motorcycle more for scouting runs and things like that, and the truck would really be the way to go.
Yeah.
Or something at least with a really decent trunk, you know, hatchback or something.
So no RV, no semi, nothing with like a ton of storage space. You could like get a year's worth of supplies at once.
If you're moving everybody at one time or something like that, then you'd want a vehicle like that. But the fuel consumption on that is terrible.
But what? And then, but
take
now
a fire truck so far. far.
But when you're using an RV, right, I mean, you get one big, huge benefit, which is the fact that you don't have to stop to go to the bathroom. So you don't have to go out of the vehicle to use the restroom. You don't have to go out of the vehicle to cook. So if you get stranded, you've got everything you need.
So just to confirm, during the zombie apocalypse, 6 weeks in, you're
scared to go to the bathroom? Yes.
No. I understand scared to go to the bathroom. You're pulling over and like going into gas station bathrooms? That's your plan?
I mean,
you're, like,
no, but you're in the woods, right? Like, you don't know what's coming.
Gotcha, okay.
There's been Carl got shot in the woods, dude.
That's true.
I just think that in general, an RV is like having your house.
A zombie is much less likely to shoot me, though.
That's true.
Right.
But it's still possible. Okay. You could still...
I do want to clarify, just for our discussion and for the viewers here, like, are we assuming that it's a Walking Dead type situation? Like, they're not like fast zombies?
No, we're not in like giant running...
Are we assuming that it's the whole, like, if you die, you're coming back as a zombie regardless type situation?
Yeah, we can assume that. Yeah, the RV, I'm all the way. Even though it's tough, even though I'm probably going to get, like, locked out of being able to search some places. Like, because I know that you're not going to be able to get into the city much because there's probably strewn about cars that you can't get past or something like that. But I still have my entire house with me.
And if you ever get, like, surrounded, I feel like it would only take a wall of 2 or 3 zombies thick to start punching through the walls of an RV, you know.
How do you rebuild your lifestyle with the zombie apocalypse happening? Like, what is the perfect life in a zombie scenario?
I feel like you're not going to get anything close to like a perfect life, or even like remotely back to what you're used to until like a few years out.
I mean, do you have anything close to a perfect life now?
I mean, like, as a society, like, we have television. Once you have a television, you really don't have anything to complain about. You have a phone that can reach out into space and find information for you. Like, life is pretty good.
Well, you're probably not getting those things back.
Right, but, like, what is the bare essentials of life are, you know, food, water, shelter, safety, you know, family and friends, and the occasional game of horseshoes, I guess, at that point.
Yeah.
So how do you make sure that you can live a life that is somewhat set? Like, how do you secure your area enough to where you can actually sleep at night without worrying?
I don't think you do.
You don't?
Not for a long time.
Let's say now we're 6 months out.
Yeah.
You know, you don't think... What, Ian, I know you have a plan.
I mean, I think after a certain amount of time has passed, like... we could go Woodbury with it. I mean, like, Amherst is not a large city, but there are things there. There are plenty of buildings. You wouldn't have to work super hard to at least get the main, like, the town itself contained.
You could find an engineer that builds walls and bleeds very quickly.
Right, that's true, yeah. But, yeah, no, I think that would be the optimal idea.
I think the benefit of being out in the woods, like with the one house, is that you only have one house to worry about, whereas... Right. When you go to the community, when you go to that town size, you have to worry about, you know, 20 buildings, all the rooms within those 20 buildings, and then all the walls around those 20 buildings.
Yeah.
So let's say 6 months in, you're not really worried about necessarily community as much as you are like your actual safety. Right. How are you barricading your home for safety in that instance?
Well, here's a question, before we get rolling on that. A paradigm, a common thing, a common belief is that there's safety in numbers. In a zombie apocalypse, is there safety in numbers, or is that gone? You know, do you need a few people that you have to watch over, or do you need a lot of people to help defend things? Like, is there still safety in numbers?
Well, maybe that's why you're specific about the people you let into the group. I mean, like, obviously, you don't want to be that jerk who doesn't let anyone in, but you don't want but a certain percent of your people to potentially be a liability either.
True. I think that ultimately, though, you have to, with what you've got, regardless of whether... Because I think still in 6 months, when people are showing up, you're still letting them in. Right? Because, like, people haven't gotten too crazy or survivalist or like I'm gonna kill everything you have and take all you have and live here. So what is your benchmark at this point for help and for who you let in and how you're protecting your group?
I mean, I feel like if I'm in my remote location and I'm comfortable and I have enough supplies that I can spare, like I may have like some, like if it's someone that I don't want to let into my group, I can be like, well, here's a pack. Enough supplies to last you a couple days. Now be on your way. Sure. I mean, I wouldn't be like, no, you can't come in at all. I would need to help them to some extent. But.
So, what about to keep the walkers out? Like, what is your traps?
Well, I mean, we have no trespassing signs all over our property.
Because zombies love those.
Right. I don't know, man. I mean, like around the house proper, we'd probably have some like large barricades, and then like along the way, like some barbed wire, like strands upon strands of barbed wire, just at least to slow them down, so we can at least hear them coming. You know.
Do you hang
like
cans?
I don't think that's the worst idea.
I don't think so either. I would have never thought of it.
I mean, what am I going to do with all the empty cans that we've got? You know,
a good point.
So might as well.
See, canned goods, like that's something that you just don't think about. But like, I would be stuck with maybe like a one meal of kidney beans and some peas.
Yeah,
and that'd be about the only meal that I have in my house right now if the apocalypse happens.
Well, and where you wouldn't want to be rolling around in a great big gas guzzling vehicle necessarily, you could definitely use those to fortify things.
Absolutely.
You know, if you can make a run and come back with a semi and start parking those around your
just a wall of buses, basically. That's not a horrible idea.
Well, I mean, now that we've given these guys some time to think, I mean, do you have any scenarios or obstacles that we could possibly?
I got a thing for you.
Yeah.
No one overlooking.
Sure. What's
Go
that?
for it.
You get to the question where you're trying to find fuel for your generator.
Yeah.
You're trying to find fuel for your vehicles.
Right.
There's 3 things you could do now, as well as at the end of the world, to help you with those things. One is you buy alcohol conversion kits. You plant sugar cane, which when you cut it, it grows right back in 2 months.
Right.
And you make your own alcohol to power your vehicles. 2, you don't have to go into the city to get gas. Every convenience store that has gas tanks has at least a 87, a 89, a 93, and a diesel tank, most likely.
Sure.
Even if the pumps are off and all the gas has been pumped out via the pumps, every tank in the ground has an access port that you can get a hose down into, and those pumps cannot pump out the bottom 1 to 200 gallons of fuel in those tanks. Most people don't know that. So there's your 2 sources of power.
Wow.
Is there an easy way to find those ports? I mean, like at sheets, they're always real visible, but
red. They have to be marked by law:
right.
red, white, blue, green, whatever. So they're there. You may have to get creative and take a sledgehammer to bust a lock off, or get the opening big enough that you can get a hose down in. But it's not impossible.
Sure.
To do. All right.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to drill.
Right. And in that situation, if you take 4 to 6 people out, so you have a couple people to keep security while other people are working, and then you can rotate off.
Sure.
It's not hard to do with a hand crank. You could siphon it in theory, but I don't want to be the person who has to stick a 1-inch hose or 2-inch hose down the ground and get that suction going.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you can hand crank, you can foot pump. There's options to that. And then the third thing you can do, because by law, none of us can have more than 50 gallons of gas on our property. By law.
Sure.
That they see.
Right.
You can keep that in mind.
Right.
The other thing that you can do, because you have to keep also in mind that fuel is going to lose octane over time.
especially the ethanol stuff doesn't last long.
Right. And then you got to look at like these stations that sell like the inexpensive fuel, Wilco, Sheet, stuff like that. Not a lot of times what they're getting for their cheap fuel is it's 93 that's been recovered from other stations that haven't sold it, that after 90 to 120 days has come from 93 down to 90 octane. So they recover it. Not all places, but some places they'll recover it, recycle it, and then sell it to the other stations at a discount. That's how they keep the fuel price down. So that's two options. The third option is you can very inexpensively create solar and wind power to power your home with wrecked cars. The wind part is very easy because every car has an alternator. Take a ceiling fan, get the blades off of it, or some beer cans, or your food cans, or whatever. Hammer them into blades, or just take blades off ceiling fans and stuff. Put them on a fence post, hook it to the generator to your battery. You got wind power, easy as it can be. And you can go to places like Harbor Freight and pick up a 45-watt solar power system for $8,900.
Yeah.
You know, that's 3 panels, converter, everything.
Right.
So if you kept a couple of those at home, you'd at least have enough power to run a couple lights in the refrigerator, so your meat's not going bad.
Sure. Cool.
But most people don't even think about your local convenience stores being a source for 2, 4, 5, 600 gallons of fuel.
Right.
Right, I wouldn't have thought 600.
And then it just depends on how many tanks they have.
Sure.
And the whole sugarcane thing and converting alcohol is easy to do.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got any kind of mechanical know-how, and you guys have groups, which I haven't even amassed yet, but you got groups of people with know-how. You're going to have 1 or 2 engineers. You need to have 1, 2, 3 people that can do these jobs.
Right.
You have backups in case someone does get bitten.
Sure.
You don't want to keep them around like her.
Absolutely. You gotta watch your back. Thanks, man. Shoot.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
That was awesome. So thank you guys so much for coming out to the show.
Guys.
We appreciate it. You can find us on RIJcast.com. That's RIJcast.com or Facebook.com/RIJcast. We have 100 episodes.
Feel free to pick up some stickers on your way out.
Stickers are there at the table. We appreciate you guys coming out.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So, welcome back. As you just heard, that was our stunning con debut, and some surprises along the way. Rashaan, I really wish that you could have been there to experience the whole Walking Dead Dead End Con experience. What I will say is very like for the Kirkley.
Okay.
Very impressive, like venue
The way it looked.
ability.
Okay.
Like it's not the largest space,
Right.
But it is very well laid out. Like the way that they had the rooms and stuff. It was definitely smaller than like the Comic Con that we went to in Richmond. But like we knew that,
Right.
Very well laid out as far as the Kirkley goes. The folks that threw the con are Quest Media and Hollywood Billboard, so you should go check them out. They have some pictures and stuff. Still no pictures from like a large portion of the event. I hope that by the time this airs, there's a lot up there. Or check out the Dead End Con Facebook page. Hopefully they've got some stuff posted. We have some pictures that we'll be posting when this episode drops, so that you can kind of look through those and see some of the event stuff. Also, there will soon be a video of this event. It's one of those things that we're shooting over to Josh to kind of throw together and work out. Luckily, Josh was able to be there with us.
Yeah, that was good.
Because we were kind of, I anyway, felt as though I think we'd be struggling with just me and Ian in a room full of people. Our first time doing it. I think it was good for everyone that Josh attended.
Yeah.
But it was a really cool experience, man. Like I really had a lot of fun doing the live show. So much so, in fact, that like we now have multiple things in the works to kind of make happen to where RIJcast Live will now become an interactive experience for people of all ages.
Look, I don't know if you guys know, we are becoming a big deal.
Yeah.
We are.
We don't
hot
even
shit.
want to, and it just happened.
Yeah.
Well,
overnight,
I'm not going to
like
go
that.
there.
Over 2 years.
I'm going to let you guys be the confident ones, and I'm just going to keep thanking God that Rashaan showed up this week. So I think one of the best things about this whole experience was the fact that like we actually had some pretty decent folks in the audience, folks that liked our page on Facebook, and hopefully they're listening to the show right now. So thank you to you guys for coming out to the show. The audience was awesome. We kind of got schooled at the end there by this giant zombie guy. So like the guy at the end of this recording, which for those of you spoilers, Rashaan hasn't heard the recording because we just decided to like record a snippet so that Rashaan kind of had a part in the episode. So he hasn't heard this yet, but he will. This is the one he's going to listen to. But there's this guy, and he's like big dude, right?
Yeah.
And like good old boy, like farm strong.
Gotcha.
You know.
Actually, let's before we get to that, let's go ahead and get the awkward part out of the way, right? So
Sure.
we were scheduled for an hour, right? We were supposed to go from 11 o'clock until 12 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And I guess somehow in the mass hysteria of the con, that was lost in translation to mean that as soon as something else starts, we have to empty out the room and have everyone go over to this other thing that's starting.
Right.
And that was interesting, kind of shocking, I would say. Not necessarily what we expected. So we're in the middle, and I do want to play this for you here, and it might take me a second to find it.
You have it recorded with him saying...
Oh, yeah, I have it recorded.
Can you pick him up?
I can pick him up. I can definitely pick him up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, I mean, now that we've given these guys some time to think, I mean, do you have any scenarios or obstacles that we could possibly...
Really quick, they're waiting on us to start the trivia next door, so I know we were here till 11:30, so we appreciate it, but we are starting trivia right now.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Very good. Well, that sounds like the time for you guys to go over there. So thank you guys so much for coming out to the show.
Guys.
We appreciate it.
Okay, so that okay, great was just like
I've
you know
heard
me.
that Ian voice before.
You know me, okay? Yeah, exactly. You've heard that. Like, yeah, no, I'll totally do that.
Where it comes in like just at the downward end of someone saying something, like you kind of cut them off.
Yep.
With, okay, great.
Yeah, like I'm not going to cut you off fully, but I'm just going to right at the end.
All right, if you say one more word,
Right. I might cut a bit, but it's fine.
So that was a little.
That is not how you explained it. I thought of it that would have pissed me off.
Yeah.
That's not cool at all, because it was right in the point. So at this point, they have, I'm assuming that the audience has interacted.
30 minutes in. We have been not really getting a ton of interaction from the audience at this point.
You were basically
building,
and then we would use the last half to actually converse.
Like
back
we were
and
getting
forth.
feedback and like laughter and things like that. Like they were obviously engaged.
Yeah.
digging the show, like very like into the show.
But no one had like given us any kind of scenario, because we had asked like earlier if anyone had anything. There was like
one guy said something about like sleeveless bicycle riding or motorcycle riding.
Right, because he was talking about how Daryl, like a motorcycle with a vest is like the worst thing to be wearing and riding.
Yeah, that is true.
That was a little that was a kind of a punch in the face a little bit.
And
right?
not what I was expecting.
Now, like let me ask you though, like you're sitting there at the table with us.
Yeah.
You're gonna react the same way, like yeah, okay, and like just let it stew for a minute, right?
I think if I was there, I would have been quiet in that moment.
Yeah.
I think I would have been quiet in that moment.
I think we played the better hand there.
Yeah.
Right.
In general.
Because hearing that right now, I was there in that moment when you were talking, because I'm used to sitting with y'all, so I was actually there. And then when I heard him cut in, like I wasn't, it pissed me off, and I don't know why I got mad. I was not expecting that. The way you explained it to me was, when you said engaging, I thought that the time for the Q&A had already begun.
No.
And then like he just happened to come in, at the end of one of the questions and answer, so this was like the beginning of Q&A.
This was 30. This was exactly 30
and
minutes.
You know what the kicker is, and I don't even think I told you this. The reason I asked the audience at that point if they had any kind of scenarios is because like the guy who came in and made the announcement, he looked like he was ready to engage. Like, is it because he had been up to that point, he'd been very helpful.
Wow.
All these other things. So I thought he was ready to engage. And he was also an MC for the other event. So I was like, oh, maybe he'll jump in and kind of get the crowd moving. And I was like, oh,
that's the thing that like I had to take a step back and understand, and I didn't catch this the day of the con. The guy that was running the time schedule during the day, I don't know if this was how it was initially supposed to go down, but during the day, he was a celebrity guest. He was billed as a celebrity guest, and they had him running kind of point for this stuff. So I had no idea that he was like, basically the thing across the hall was his event, and so it was one of those things where like, hey, okay, we're going to do it. Let me get all these people in here. And it, like, I don't know what level, like whether that made it worse or better, but it was one of those things where it was just, I don't know.
I could kind of see that,
because
if we were on the dossier or the roster as celebrity guests and somebody was before us and our time is coming up because we know there's an event coming after us, even though you said his event was short-lived, I could see us either getting someone to say, hey, especially if there aren't ample people there.
I mean, and that is something also to look at. We had people. We only had a half hour, but I mean, we packed that room for the half hour.
Yeah.
Like it was packed in the room. Right. So it was one of those things where honestly, like they kind of probably needed people to come over. It was probably a spur of the moment decision. Right. They thought, hey, like if we're gonna cut into anybody's time, let's go ahead and cut into these folks' time.
Right.
And all of those decisions
without knowing us, it was a fair decision.
Right.
However, I do not like at all that it was done in the way that it was done.
Right.
And again, that guy, when I said he was helpful, like when we were about to start and the celebrity panel that actually happened right before us was wrapping up, he came to me, he's like, hey, once this is done, I'll actually like start funneling people over. Like I'll make sure that the people who are in the merch room know that they should come over here. And I'm like, okay, great. Like, thanks. That's awesome. Yeah.
Little did we know.
Right.
And the other thing too, like the trivia that like, so he interrupts the show to let people know that the trivia is about to start.
Yeah.
the way he said it, it didn't really leave anyone with any choice. Like there was a couple people, like there was this one couple that was there, like particularly, they were really into it, dude. Like they were
actually
digging
liked
the show. They liked the Facebook page afterwards. Like they were into it. I hope they're listening. They even they knew what happened.
Yeah.
Because they had this same person days before the con started said, "Oh, I have a tentative schedule. Is there anything changing?" Like this was on the schedule. We were on the schedule for an hour. She knew we had an hour, so she knew the second that he interrupted, she just gave us a look, and I was like, "Yes, thank you." Like that was all I needed. Like she knew that we kind of got screwed a little bit. Now, granted, we were given the opportunity to come to the con, which was huge, and we appreciate that. And like this is nothing for. I don't hold any animosity truly for anybody or anything in the venue. We would love to work with these folks again.
Absolutely.
It was just a communication error that kind of smacked us in the face in the most RIJcast of ways.
Right.
And so it was just very, very interesting.
That I think this is necessary for the future. As you said, you want to start doing RIJcast Live more. We will run the show differently in the future, just in case, because I guarantee if we do this more, it's guaranteed to happen again.
Yeah.
Especially with time constraints, if we're not the primary people there. And even when we are, time and people is always it's always bad, because most of these events aren't organized the way they should be. Yeah. So we'll just in the beginning start right away.
So I don't know if I'll edit this episode to edit that out.
I don't think you should. I don't think you said anything that shouldn't.
No. I don't mean right now, because I think I'm doing fine.
Gotcha.
I'm calm. But in the actual episode itself, like in the recording of the live, I don't know if I'll include the us getting
raw
shut
reaction.
down. Just the utter, like, I don't think the audience needs to. That would be like watching the most awkward episode of The Office ever made. You know, it's just
I wouldn't be able to listen to it because it's so awkward.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. But we had a blast doing it. We had a lot of fun. I'm really excited about the opportunity to do some more stuff in the future. You know,
and I made some good contacts for us for the show itself.
Yes, dude, we have some really awesome stuff.
It's kind of a repeat of Richmond Comic Con, where I was like actually talking to people, like handing out like the people who put together the Evil Dead musical.
Gotcha.
I made some contacts with that. Hopefully,
a couple
we'll get some
episodes
of them.
hopefully planned to involve them. So
that would be awesome.
Some really cool stuff coming, folks. We are taking RIJcast to the next level, which I don't really necessarily know how next level that is.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I'm just like, I'm pumped now. Like, honestly, after doing that show, dude, I'm so pumped up. Like, I immediately got on the ball with getting us to do some more live stuff.
Well,
because it's so much fun.
And you know, for it being our first like audience interaction, like I didn't feel like there was any awkwardness on our part. Like none that came through.
I think that I shied away from the audience a bit, as far as like looking at them much.
Well, sure,
like I did, but like not that much.
Well, and I did the same thing too, because I'm not necessarily like, if you ask me a question, I'm answering you. Like I'm looking at you. I'm not be like, hey, guy in the back, what do you think about my answer?
That's why I kept asking you questions, so I didn't have to look at them.
Right.
Like, hey, Ian. So, but no, I think
that's so awkward, Jake. Jake is like, I know they're here, Ian, but please.
Ian,
my safety blanket. Hold my hand.
Zombies are cool, right?
Hold my hand.
You want to talk about it?
Hold my hand.
I don't think I was. I don't think that I was awkward enough, like to really show too bad.
Right. No, you're fine.
But I think I did make mention of it a couple times. Like I think it was clear.
Right.
But I had fun with myself.
And if there's one thing we can rely on Jake to do, it's have fun with himself.
So for those of you who were at the event, got a chance to look us up afterwards and are hearing this, since we didn't get a chance to tell you, we are on Twitter at RIJcast. You can find us. You can find me at Jake Callan, Ian at IMM1987, and Rashaan at Rashaan Dior1. Facebook.com/RIJcast is also an option. There's a lot of stuff there.
Well, and Josh as well, because he was on the panel.
At all that is Josh is Josh. So you guys can go hit him up if you would like for us to come out to a live event and give us half our time. We would gladly show up.
You know, you got a birthday party, bar mitzvah.
Yeah, dude, we would kill a bar mitzvah.
Quinceañera.
We would. I don't know about a quinceañera, but we would definitely kill a bar mitzvah. We would be awesome.
Yeah.
You know how many? Like, we're already primed, dude. We have like 3 episodes about foreskin anyway.
Any of those options gives me a cool hat. So
there you go, dude. So check that out, folks. Thank you so much for listening to this. It's a shorter episode than usual. Not our fault. But guys, that has been everything you didn't know you cared about for the week and for the Dead End Con. I'm Jake.
Rashaan.
And Ian.
Y'all have a good week.